Should the Miami Heat look to orchestrate a trade with the New Orleans Pelicans for either Trey Murphy Jr. or Zion Williamson? Can either player help the Miami Heat with their Eastern Conference push for the 2026 season? All that and more in another episode of Miami Heat Talk. Guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, because we're pushing to 7,000 subscribers. Now that we got that out the way, hit the intro.
That is enough said.
Happy Monday, Heat Nation. Your boy Ernest here, and I am back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Hope everyone's having a beautiful Monday. I know it's the beginning of the work week. Some people may feel dragged and upset and like, damn, I can't believe it's Monday. Look, guys, if you woke up today, remember what I always say. You're already winning. So go ahead, drink your cup of coffee, your tea, whatever makes you going. Hope you have a beautiful day, and let's rock and roll on another Miami Heat Talk adventure. Guys, we haven't done a comment shout out in the last week, so really need your guys' help. Get me to 100 likes. I'll pick a comment. I'll actually pick 2 comments since we haven't done it in a while, and I'll give a shout out in the next episode. But today's episode, you guys, I want to talk about potential trade package offers with two players. You have both players with the New Orleans Pelicans. Both guys I want to talk about. First and foremost, Zion Williamson. And then you have Trey Murphy III with the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, these are 2 players that I feel can instantly help the Miami Heat for next season. But it all depends on what they have to give up. Now, first and foremost, we're going to talk about Zion. And I know people are rolling their eyes when they hear Zion Williamson to the Miami Heat, myself included. Reason why is not because Zion is a bad player by any means necessary. You've seen what Zion does. You know, he's been in the NBA for 5 seasons now. He's only 24 years old, 6'6", 284 pounds. Last season averaged almost 25 points a game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 56% from the field. So it's not what he does on the floor. It's the amount of time and the amount of games that he plays on the floor. Zion Williamson, who's played 5 seasons so far, last year only played 30 games. His first season only played 24 games. He's only played 70 games one time in the 2024 season. But that season, you know, averaged 23 points a game. You know, he wasn't really his normal self. But when you look at his career stats, you guys, his career numbers, about 25 points, 6.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. He shoots for his career almost 60% from the field. So you know what you get when Zion Williamson is out there. Now, the biggest thing about Zion is his weight issues. You've seen the memes, you've seen the jokes. Zion Williamson can't keep his eating under control. In college, he looked like a phenom playing in Duke. But then you go to New Orleans with that amazing New Orleans food. I don't know if you guys have ever been to New Orleans, but I've been there twice. Unbelievable food. Unbelievable. And Zion, you know, kind of took to it, and the meme started going crazy. Zion could never keep his weight in check. And it was kind of the same colossal thing that would happen with Zion every single year. In the offseason, he would get himself in great shape. During the season, he would get injured, get out of shape, and it was a revolving cycle for 5 years. Now, I will say this. Players have been known to have weight issues. And then they come in this Miami Heat culture and system, and they get it together. 3 players immediately pop up in mind. Shaquille O'Neal. Remember when Shaq was traded to the Heat? Before then, he had a weight issue with the Los Angeles Lakers. He always felt like that he can just do what he needs to do, get in shape during the season, and dominate in the playoffs. And yeah, that did work for a while, but as you get older, your body changes. So when Shaq got traded here in 2004, he got into one of the best shapes of his life, playing with the Miami Heat. I also remember the 2017 push. Guys like Dion Waiters and James Johnson, they bought in, got into the best shapes of their life, had some of the best seasons of their career. So you bring a guy like Zion Williamson into this Miami Heat culture, and yeah, you throw the name, the culture out there, but all that means, you guys, is that they hold players accountable. And that's what Zion needs. A team to hold him accountable rather than guide him like a little baby. Every organization is different. And when you hear former players that have played for the Heat and other teams, they speak it. You see players like Darrell Wright, who's talking on podcast about that. You've seen former Heat players who have gone to other teams. You know, guys like Josh Richardson, who's openly spoken about this. Guys like Rodney McGruger. There's been a lot of guys that have talked about playing for the Heat and other teams. And these teams, like Max Strus recently, he's a big-time leader in Cleveland, and he is giving this team the guidance, the Miami Heat culture type of guidance that he got here when he had those incredible playoff runs. When players play with the Miami Heat team, it's a different type of organization. I love this organization because it holds players accountable. Spo coaches players to become their very best. You saw it with a lot of runs. And look, I know Spo's been catching a lot of flack lately as the coach for this team. That's just because we're not winning anything right now. But you look at what Spo has done in the past, gotten some of the very best out of undrafted players. Most recently, guys like Max Strus, like I just mentioned, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, James Johnson, Dion Waiters, Rodney McGruger. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I know that if you add a guy like Zion Williamson to this team, with a coach that holds his players accountable like Eric Spoelstra, with an organization that can keep Zion's mind right, keep him on the right path, and with players like Bam Adebayo, who's completely bought into the system as the captain, can help Zion be that guy. I feel that Zion, given his age and given the flexibility and given what he's shown, can be a type of player that can help this Miami Heat team win now. And I think that he still has an even bigger threshold that he can hit in the NBA. He just needs the right fit with him. Maybe New Orleans is not the fit. But the question is, what do you give up for a player like Zion? Because I've mentioned this before. If you're trying to trade for a superstar level player, the goal is to trade for a player to keep alongside Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, because you do need that A-list type of player. Zion has shown that when he's on the court, can be that player. So he just needs the right pieces around him. Bam Adebayo and Zion Williamson together, I think would be a great fit. Now, if you're keeping Kel'el Ware, does Zion go to the small forward position? Or maybe you can start Bam at the 5 with Zion at the 4 and bring Kel'el Ware off the bench. This is a good problem to have. But with Zion's size being 6'6", maybe a move to small forward can be great. With Tyler Hero at the 2 and Davion Mitchell starting at the point guard. Because there was a trade report that came out yesterday earlier today, on Yahoo Sports that I would be more than willing to do. The Pelicans would receive Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Duncan Robinson, 2 first-round draft picks for Zion Williamson. The numbers match. Why does this work for the Pelicans? Because they get to retool and rebuild. They've been dealing with the Zion Williamson experience for the last 5 years now, and it's bit them in the ass. You know, they traded for DeJounte Murray. He tore his Achilles. That's not working. They lost Brandon Ingram. They are on a new build. So if you give them 2 first-round draft picks, 2 young assets with an expiring contract like Duncan Robinson, it works. But does that get it done? Zion has lost a little bit of value because he's not that player that he's been projected to be simply because of the injuries. So the Miami Heat could capitalize while the iron's hot. This may be an opportunity to capitalize and not have to trade Tyler Hero or Bam Adebayo. Maybe you may have to include Kel'el Ware in this package. This is just a starting point, guys. This is something Miami can offer, and if Pelicans say no, they can go back and forth. Maybe having Bam Adebayo and Zion as your 1-2 punch in the front court can be enough. I'd prefer to keep Kel'el Ware. Or you can go the other route, and you can acquire Trey Murphy from the New Orleans Pelicans. Trey Murphy, who is an exceptional player, had an incredible year this year. He did play about 53 games, but he averaged 21.2 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1 steal, 45% from the field, 36 from 3, and 88% from the free throw line. He's a 6'8" small forward shooting guard player, gives you a lot of versatility, can give you another scoring threat next to Tyler Hero. Obviously, obviously it's depending on who you would have to give up, but for a guy like this, you may not have to sell the farm. New Orleans is looking to move this player. It was recently reported that they're looking to get away, possibly from Trey Murphy's contract. I like it. I think it fits. It's just depending on what the Miami Heat would have to give up. This was something that came up from Sports Illustrated, and I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, so right now, Trey Murphy's extension kicks in next season. He's making $25 million for next season. So this is a trade package very similar to what you're giving up for Zion. Not as much, though. It'll be Duncan Robinson, Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, and the 2025 first round pick, which is pick 20 for Trey Murphy, and Carlo Makovic. I think it works. I think Trey Murphy is a guy that you can implement into this system. He's 24 years old, just like Zion. So he meets the time gap with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. He gives you another scoring presence. But we've said this before, and as much as I like Trey Murphy, putting him on this team, it's kind of a gamble. It's kind of a gamble because does a Trey Murphy, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo team get you to the promised land next season? It may get you to contend, but who would you rather have, Zion or Trey Murphy? Zion has much bigger upside. Trey Murphy is a more consistent piece. And these two trade package offers I'd be willing to do because at the end of the day, you're trying to keep your core. And in my opinion, your core moving forward is Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Kel'el Ware. You can also add Davion Mitchell into that mix. I love Nikola Jovic. I love Jaime Jaquez. I'm not trying to get rid of both of these guys. I'm just saying that if you're trying to get better and add a player that can help you win now, some of these assets may need to be dealt. Guys like Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, maybe even Pallel Larson and Kel'el Ware. These are pieces that can get you to that whale type of player you're looking to get to. So both trade packages work, you guys. Even though Zion, Zion, I understand he comes with his issues, but he's not making the type of money that some of these players are currently making, guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Right now, Zion Williamson has 3 years left on his contract, making $39.5 million for this year, $42 million in 2027, and in his final year in 2028, $44.8 million. That's a lot of flexibility, especially with the way that the salary cap market is going. So if you look to trade for a Zion Williamson to put him with Bam and Tyler, you can compete. You can get Zion in the right mindset, get him in the right diet, even though it hasn't worked. It didn't work in New Orleans. He might need the right culture. Or maybe you go with Trey Murphy, a guy who is polished and developed, has the right mindset, and can help you win now. So Heat Nation, I want to hear from you. Who would you prefer? What do you think would be the right trade package? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe as we continue our push for 7,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, your boy Ernest out. And that is enough said.